Ancient Maya artifacts. Archaeologists from Mexico recently went to the mysterious Chemuel Cave. This is a dark, mysterious place where the secrets of the ancient Mayan civilization were hidden for centuries. According to legend, this cave was the entrance to the underworld where, according to the Maya, deities lived, so they often used the caves for their sacred ceremonies. Among the finds are two ancient vessels that were carefully placed in the niches of the cave. They were probably used to collect water flowing from stalactites. Such water was considered sacred. Another object, a bowl on a tripod, was found upside down and placed under stones. This indicates that it could be part of a ritual, a sacrificial offering to the gods. The most mysterious find in Scotland. Let's get into the spirit of an unfathomable archaeological mystery that arose in 1836 in Scotland. See these 7-tin miniature wooden coffins? This is the most exciting mystery that worries scientists from all over the world, which the kids accidentally discovered while chasing rabbits on a hill in Edinburgh. Children playing in the forest stumble upon a strange cave where they found 17 tiny coffins with even tiny figures of people inside. On the one hand, it looks like some kind of magical ritual. On the other hand, the people of Edinburgh have an even more frightening idea of their origin. Could it be that these coffins are a secret trace of the sinister murders committed by the Irish burgher and heir in Edinburgh in 1827-1828? 16 murders, 17 coffins. But they say an extra coffin is a symbol of the first victim of the killers, whose body they sold to doctors, although he died of natural causes. All this is just a hypothesis, not confirmed by the facts, but what if? Maybe they really secretly made these coffins, preparing for their atrocities. This theory still haunts researchers and mystery lovers. Maybe you can help unravel this mystery? Write your guesses in the comments below the video. Round man-made object found at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee. In the depth of Lake Kinneret in Israel, a huge ball with a diameter of about 50 meters at an age of 4,000 years was discovered. Who, when, and why made it is still a mystery. Researchers from Tel Aviv University and Ariel University tirelessly tried to unravel this mystery. They even offered a fresh hypothesis that could possibly explain the origin of this mysterious object. After a detailed study using sonar and analysis of bottom sediments, scientists determined that this giant ball, made from large fragments of basalt, is located at a depth of about 12 meters. Previously, scientists believed that this could be the biblical well of Miriam, the sister of the prophet Moses, who helped the Jews survive in the desert. But now researchers are proposing an entirely new idea. Remember the legend of Akhet, the great hunter with the magical bow who was killed by a jealous goddess? This legend says that the father searched for the body of his son for a long time, found it, and buried it in the sea. Not in any sea, but in the Sea of Galilee. Now scientists want to understand what is hidden inside this giant wall. To do this, they're going to conduct underwater research using an ultrasound machine. Unique wagon in Russia. Imagine a car made by hand from wood. Instead of wheels, massive wooden discs. Instead of a body, a lattice of intertwined twigs. It is curious, but such a wagon was found by archaeologists in the Rostov region. It was buried in the grave of a 50-year-old man who lived in the 23rd century BC. You'll probably ask, how could such an ancient wagon survive? Well, we're just lucky here. The coolest part of the wagon, the frame, that is, the running gear, has been preserved quite well. And you know what's interesting? The masters of those times very carefully selected wood for every detail. For example, the frame was made from maple and the wheels were made from oak. Super deep research even showed that all the trees were native. This means that the wagon was made right there. Our ancestors cut down trees in the forest that was nearby and used them to create their vehicles. The coolest thing about this story is that the ancient inhabitants of these places knew how to work with wood, weave from twigs, and all this with the help of simple bronze tools. So guys, the ancient nomads were not quite as savages as we could imagine. They skillfully used all available resources and created completely unique things. The oldest painting. In Iceland, archaeologists have discovered a stone carved with a Viking ship. And the most amazing thing about this is that it may be the oldest image in the history of Iceland. It is worth saying that although carved ships are found in Scandinavian culture, such discovery in Iceland is the first of its kind. According to archaeologist Bjarni Einarsson, this could be the first illustration in the history of the country. Work on the store excavation site began in 2015. Archaeologists return here every summer to continue their work. At first, the researchers drew attention to the lawn house of the settlement era, but this only opened the doors for them to the rich history of this place. What about the fact that 92 beads and 29 silver objects were found in this longhouse, including coins from Rome and the Middle East? An even older longhouse was found here, which archaeologists estimate was built around 800 AD. This is 75 years before Iceland became permanently populated. No remains of domestic animals were found inside it, which suggests its special purpose. Bjarni Einarsson suggests that this could have been a seasonal hunting base from where the Vikings went in search of valuable resources, including walrus bone. Ancient bloody tale. Anyone who first saw these drawings on the wall of the cave would think that the drawings appeared here quite recently, but it turned out that these are real archaeological treasures of the 17th-19th centuries. Scientists from Australia, Malaysia, and New Zealand have used radiocarbon dating, the same technique that determines of ancient objects. Professor Taken says dating the rock drawings is a difficult task. Although the methods allow dating up to 50,000 years old, dyes like the red color that is often found in the caves of Malaysia do not contain carbon, but black drawings, if they are made on the basis of coal, can be checked. Similar drawings have been found in the Philippines and Sulawesi, so our cave is not the only one with its secrets. But returning to her drawings, the professor claimed that they reflect the times when there were military clashes between the local tribes and the invading Malays. A descendant of one of the tribes tells an amazing story about how his ancestors hid in a cave from a cruel Malay leader who wanted to steal their children. Fighting, many of them were able to escape by making their way through the secret passage of the cave. On the walls of the cave, not only people are depicted, but also the weapons of that era with which they protected their families. It seems that history just comes to life in front of us. And even more stories from the ancient world you can find on my channel. 1050-year-old mysterious building. Today I will tell you about the Great Ottonian Dynasty, which about 1,000 years ago ruled in the area that is now known as Germany. Recall the lessons of history? So, right under our feet, secrets are buried that literally stun us. The Ottons were a powerful family that had roots in Saxony-Anhalt and were busy building churches, monasteries, and castles throughout the region. And today, our brave archaeologists are hard at work digging up the earth to bring to light the secrets of this dynasty. And one of these projects in Altenburg Grosswangen has discovered amazing finds. There, underground, archaeologists discovered two huge castles, the main one and the outer one, protected by moats and ramparts. These are exactly the same ones that were built during the Ottonian dynasty. And here's the most interesting thing. The main castle was protected in a way that were usually done in the most important castles of that time. It was a separate powerful wall, which is already more than 1,000 years old. According to Felix Biermann, the scientist who led the excavations, Altenburg is a real mystery. There is an assumption that they plan to create a new base for management here, but something went wrong. In addition to the wall, archaeologists have found many artifacts: small houses, stone and clay ovens, ceramics, animal bones, knives, spears, and much more. These were some amazing secrets kept by the land near Altenburg, which is located just 250 kilometers southwest of Berlin. Hand of Glory. Ancient magicians and shamans surprise and amaze with their ingenuity. Especially, their knowledge of human psychology is inspiring. Particularly, besides the fact that they managed to create some magical objects, they also force people to believe in their miraculous power. One such example is the Hand of Glory. The first mention of this terrible contraption dates back to the 1600s, but only the ones officially recorded. To create this magical item, the hand of a hanged murderer was needed. The most interesting thing is that I even have a recipe for making this terrible thing. You can write it down, maybe it will come in handy for you sometime. The hand must be cut off from the body of a hanged criminal, marinated in salt and urine of a man, woman, dog, horse, and mare. Then it must be smoked with herbs and hay for a month, hung on an oak tree for 3 nights in a row, and then hung on a church door for 1 night. And if during this time no fear drives you away, the hand will be yours. According to another recipe, the hand had to be marinated in different ingredients, so to speak. 2 of them are pony and zemat. Fortunately, we still do not know the translations of the word. So, what is the meaning of this hand? And here, everything is simple. When performing a certain ritual using this hand, you can open absolutely any door on the planet. It's a kind of magical lockpick. Remarkably, history even preserved descriptions of supposedly real cases of the use of such artifacts. In the 1873 book Curious Myth of the Middle Ages, there is a servant girl's story. During a severe storm, a beggar appeared on the threshold of an inn in the English county of Northumberland. There was no room, but he was allowed to spend the night by the fire next to the maid. The woman woke up at night and saw how the guest removed a dry human hand from the folds of his cloak, lit the candles fixed between his fingers, and quietly muttered some kind of spell. The maid rushed to wake her master and other servants, but they were fast asleep. Then she grabbed. After that, he calmly wandered around the hall, putting more or less valuable things in a bag: dishes, candelabra, and others. The maid rushed to wake her master and other servants, but they were fast asleep. Then she grabbed a jug of milk and poured it into her hand. The candles went out and sleep paralysis fell from the inhabitants of the house. Now such hands are part of the expositions of several museums, and each with its sinister story. The next find was already of real value in the Middle Ages. Ancient artifact weighing 3 tons. A farmer from the Spanish town of Bana, uprooting an olive tree, stumbled upon a huge stone object. The photo posted by the local city hall shows that it looks like a large round stone with 3 grooves on the sides. It turned out to be an ancient Roman millstone, a special device for squeezing olives and extracting olive oil. This device is called a trapetum. It was invented back in Greece and then used throughout the Roman Empire. The trapetum works like this. The workers crushed the olives with the help of the second part, which fit perfectly into the round recess, and rotated with the help of a long stick. Stone mill, with a height of about 90 centimeters and a diameter of 1.2 meters, weighs as much as 3 tons. Archaeologist Jose Antonio Morena estimated the age of the millstone at 2,000 years, and he suggested that this monumental artifact proves that olives were grown in Bana back in the days of ancient Rome. Today, Bana is also known for its olive oil. Olive groves surround the entire city, and local history is reflected in the Museum of Olive Groves and Oil. So this stone millstone will soon move to the Historical Museum of the city. Alien skulls. It all started when the locals were digging canals for irrigation and accidentally stumbled upon these amazing finds. At the site, which was named El Cementerio, the remains of 25 people were found. 17 of them were children from 5 months to 16 years old, and the remaining 30 skulls are so deformed that they simply amaze the imagination. As archaeologist Cristina Garcia Morana explains, this form of skulls is a consequence of an ancient tradition when children's heads were tied together with wooden planks. This was done in order to highlight their social group or status, but the exact reason for this unusual custom is still a mystery. Colgante disc. An object called the Colgante disc at the Rafael Larco Herrera Archaeological Museum in Lima, Peru's capital, may be evidence that people in ancient times knew what the arms of the galaxy looked like. This artifact, believed to have been created some 2,000 years ago, looks like a spiral galaxy. But here's the catch: the number of arms on this disc does not match the number of arms in our galaxy. Assuming that the disk does indeed represent a galaxy, this calls into question many things we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. However, the Colgante disk remains a mysterious artifact that raises more questions than it answers. Maternity hospital for aliens. In 2000, when archaeologists led by Frank Godieu were searching for the treasures of Napoleon's ships, they suddenly encountered something completely unexpected. They found the mysterious city of Heracleion, which disappeared under the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Heracleion was a brilliant trading center until in the 4th century BC, Alexander the Great did not build Alexandria. The city was built in honor of the Egyptian god Ra, while the Greeks believed that it was founded in honor of the demigod Hercules. At first it seemed that there is nothing supernatural. The ruins of the city sliding into the sea, the statues of pharaohs, the ruins of temples, but while exploring an ancient temple, divers discovered bas-reliefs depicting women in luxurious clothes holding small humanoids. These babies were thin, with thin arms and legs, elongated heads, and huge almond-shaped eyes. Questions immediately arise. Women cure aliens? Or are they images of household gods? Or what if this is proof that aliens were experimenting in ancient Egypt to create human-alien hybrids? Maybe Hercules, who was considered a demigod, was actually the son of an alien from heaven and an earthly woman, a hybrid of a man and an alien. These questions remain unanswered, but one thing we know for sure: history is full of unexpected discoveries, and each of them opens up new horizons and opportunities for research. Write in the comments below the video, what do you think about this? What strange images have survived to this day? Are historians really trying to hide valuable information from us? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Interstellar object. Imagine, hidden in the depth of the Pacific Ocean is a mystery that only a brave explorer can solve. No, this is not about the new Pirates of the Caribbean series. This is a real scientific story told by renowned Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb. Since 2017, he has been claiming that the asteroid Oumuamua that fell into the ocean is a crashed probe of an alien civilization. Can you guys imagine if this is true? Avi Loeb decided not to leave this hypothesis without testing and put together a research team. So what did they find? At the bottom of the ocean off the coast of Papua New Guinea, 50 iron balls, microscopic in size, were found, which usually remain from meteorites that burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. Loeb called them molten blobs from a fireball and argues that they have incredible strength and may come from a natural environment other than the solar system or an extraterrestrial technological civilization. Scientists examined these balls and found that they are stronger than any other space material that has ever been recorded by NASA. Their composition indicates a super strong iron unlike anything we know. This discovery could help future scientific expeditions find evidence of alien life with even greater accuracy. Loeb and his team hope to find even more evidence through Project Galileo. Next year's goal is to find a larger IM-1 artifact on the ocean floor. They may not find what they're looking for, but the scientist is sure that they will learn something new anyway. So stick with us, guys, and you will be aware of all the most amazing stories from the world of science and archaeology. Archaeologists were horrified. On the Tel Shimron Hill in Israel, archaeologists have found a giant complex that can be compared in size to an Olympic pool. This 5-story building is a monument made of 9,000 mud bricks. People in antiquity created an amazing dome and passage to the city, which reminded the explorers of the Mesopotamian building style. This is a rarity, as mud brick is very fragile. Archaeologists have also discovered stone chests, ossuaries aged 1850 near Kafr Kana. These are ancient Jewish urns for storing the bones of the dead. Unfortunately, they were all empty. Rock drawing of a boat with people. Guess what the archaeologists found this time? The answer floats in the waters of time and ancient legends, and now on the walls of a Swedish cave. In Sweden, in a place called Tanum, a real treasury of ancient drawings was discovered right on the stone. I think you will be interested to know that archaeologists have seen more than 40 different drawings on a huge surface 15 meters long. Among them were images of people, horses, chariots, and most interestingly, a large boat with people on board. I think that the ancient artists who inhabited this area about 2,700 years ago were very talented. Most likely they were right on the boats when they drew these amazing pictures, because some of them are at high altitude. At that time, this area was the shore of the fjord. And here's another interesting thing. Already a few years ago, thousands of similar rock paintings were discovered in the same region of Sweden, but their age turned out to be even older, as much as 3,700 years. And it looks like the Swedes are not the only ones with such talented artists. In Norway, in the north of the country, archaeologists have found another ancient rock drawing of a boat. Scientists have decided that it is between 10 and 11,000 years old. They believe that this is perhaps the oldest drawing of a boat in Europe and maybe in the whole world. So guys, never forget that art is not just paint and paper. Sometimes it can be a stone and an old boat and even time itself. Ancient skull comb. Today, combs are made from a wide variety of materials, plastic, metal, or wood. But in the Iron Age in England, combs were made from human skulls. At least one such find was discovered by archaeologists during the construction of a highway in Bar Hill. The comb was found in 2018, but only now scientists have told about the results of their study. At first glance, it seems that there is nothing unusual in it, but the material of its production, to put it mildly, shocked archaeologists. It was a human skull. But scientists did not find traces of use on the comb. This means that they did not comb their hair with the comb, but most likely used it as an amulet. A hole was also found on it, possibly for a thread or rope. Probably the amulet was created from the skull of an important person who was revered in the Iron Age even after death. There is an assumption that these could be the remains of a relative. Interestingly, this is the third such comb found. In the 70s of the last century and in 2000, the same ones were already found, and also not far from Bar Hill. Most likely in this region during the Iron Age, this was a common practice, what people did not invent in ancient times to protect themselves from evil spirits. Tiny mummy in the Atacama. 20 years ago, in an abandoned mountain town in the Atacama Desert in Chile, the mummified remains of a humanoid just 15 centimeters in size were found. When this skeleton fell into the hands of a private collector in Spain, it sparked controversy about its origins and even appeared in a documentary as possible evidence of alien life. Scientists from California have been able to extract DNA from the bones of a mummy and reconstruct the real and tragic history of this creature, which received the name Ata. It turned out that this is not a guest from another world, but a girl who apparently was born dead or died immediately after birth, with terrifying mutations that determined her unusual physique. Despite the fact that she was only 15 centimeters long, some features of the bones indicated an age of 6 to 8 years. Instead of the usual 12 pair of ribs, Ata had only 10. The head was elongated and cone-shaped. Professor Harry Nolan, who conducted the study, believes that Ata was stillborn or died immediately after birth. Her deformities were so severe that she could not eat. In her condition, she would have been admitted to a neonatal intensive care unit, but such devices simply were not available at the site where her remains were found. It all started as a story about aliens, but in fact, it is a story about a human tragedy. A woman gave birth to a deformed child, which was preserved and sold as a strange artifact. In the end, this turned out to be a person with an amazing genetic history from which we can learn a lot that will help others. iPhone spotted in painting. What the researchers found next raises a lot of questions. I'm going to talk about a mysterious painting from the 19th century, which, according to rumors, depicts iPhone. It would seem nothing surprising, only the picture was painted in the 19th century and has an iPhone on it. The painting is called The Betrothal of Burns and Highland Mary. It depicts the famous Scottish poet Robert Burns and his beloved Mary Campbell. And here's what's interesting. In the hands of both characters, you can see a strange dark rectangle with rounded corners. This is what caused a wave of discussions on the internet. Indeed, in shape and size, this item is very similar to one of the first iPhones. But here's the catch, guys. The picture was painted in 1882, that is, 125 years before the first iPhone appeared. Now art lovers around the world are unraveling this mystery. Many speculate that it could be time travel. Others argue that it may simply be a prayer book, which in those days people often carried with them. In any case, we know one thing. People's love for riddles and secrets does not subside. And this is not the first picture where a smartphone was noticed. Consider Umberto Romano's 1937 painting Miss Pinchin and the Settling of Springfield. There was also an item that looked like a mobile phone. But what it really is, a mirror, a knife, a prayer book, or really a smartphone, is still not known for sure. In any case, this leaves room for your assumptions and fantasies. Write in the comments what you think. Fill in the dead with plaster. Archaeologists have used state-of-the-art technology to shed light on one of the strangest Roman burial traditions involving filling the body of the deceased with plaster. Gypsum was poured directly into the coffin, enveloping the entire body. It turned out something like a 3D model of the deceased. These Roman plaster burials are found throughout Europe and North Africa. About 45 such burials have been discovered in Roman Britain. Scientists scanned 16 plaster burials from the Yorkshire Museum in the UK. The scan revealed a plaster coffin containing the remains of 2 adults and an infant who died together. And what do these 3D models give us? They detailed the shape, size, and position of each of the deceased, as well as how they were dressed or wrapped. It turns out that 3D visualization is a huge help in studying ancient finds. So why did the Romans engage in such strange burial practices? Scientists suggest that this could be due to high social status. Regardless of the reasons, this unusual funerary practice has proved super useful for archaeologists. Plaster prints retain a ton of detail that is usually lost over time, including the clothes of the deceased. Maya and extraterrestrial civilizations. How to explain the presence of artifacts depicting spaceships, a calendar that is valid to this day, and absolutely smooth crystal skulls. And all this in a civilization about which official history says otherwise. The secret may be in extraterrestrial visitors. Yes, you heard me right. One of the Mayan gods, Kukulkan, whom the Aztecs knew as Quetzalcoatl, could supposedly be an alien from another planet. He taught the Maya such complex sciences as agriculture, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. And the Maya knew about the planets which were discovered only a few centuries later. In the 30s of the last century in Guatemala, scientists discovered a sandstone head, which is now impossible to study since it was used as a target during military operations. But it brings even more intrigue to our story, as its facial features are not at all like the Maya and other people in that area. But did you know that many of the Mayan books burned according to legend actually ended up in the Vatican? It was they who were used to create the Gregorian calendar, which is currently used throughout the world. All these facts only confirm that the Maya could communicate with an extraterrestrial civilization. Lullab plate. The lullab plate is a stone dish that is about 12,000 years old. It depicts a disc resembling a UFO and a creature very similar to the modern idea of aliens. You can also consider a spiral galaxy. According to scholar David Gaiman, the disc was purchased from the city of Missouri in North India and belonged to the strange Sopas people who used such discs during religious ceremonies. However, he later admitted that he made this whole story up, including the creation of a sketch of the plate, which his friend then translated into black and white. Amazing artifacts constantly remind us that we still don't know much about the place where we live, but we know for sure that earthly riddles will sooner or later be solved. Griffins from the pharmacy. And now let's move on to the depth of mystical St. Petersburg, Russia, where the walls of old houses are literally saturated with the spirit of the past. And our characters today are an incredibly intriguing Russian chemist and his Griffins. Alexander Pal is a scientist, brilliant chemist, teacher, and publisher of his own journal. He opened and owned one of the oldest pharmacies in St. Petersburg, invented a unique way to store medicines in glass ampoules, and even developed his own medicine. However, it is his alchemical experiments that are at the center of our attention today. Imagine the famous chemist, using his powerful scientific and technical base, not only works on solving important medical problems, but also is looking for the Philosopher's Stone. Or rather, as they say, he found it. But that is not all. In the courtyard of Pal's pharmacy on Vasilyevsky Island, there was his laboratory where, according to city rumors, the chemist brought out Griffins. Yes, those same creatures from myth and legends. At night, they allegedly left their tower, now known as the Griffin Tower, and fluttered around the area, frightening the locals. In the 90s, mysterious numbers began to appear on the tower, which mysticism lovers immediately declared the formula of happiness derived by Pal himself. In fact, it was an art project of one St. Petersburg artist, but these figures continue to be updated to this day. So, fans of history and mysteries, if you're lucky enough to visit St. Petersburg, be sure to check out the museum located in this tower. Who knows, maybe you will be lucky and you will be able to see the shadows of griffins or their reflections in the windows of neighboring houses. Or maybe you will even be able to decipher the very formula of happiness. After all, as they say, until proven otherwise, griffins exist. Perhaps they're just waiting in the wings to give each of us a piece of happiness. And I am ready to give you stories about new finds of archaeologists and interesting events of the past which will take your breath away. Write a kind comment under the video which I will definitely answer. Thanks for your views, bye everyone!